fan's heart is full of hate. He butthurts, cries, and a dark shadow falls over this troll. From the ashes of a once great fandom has risen a meme, an LOL that must be liked. We look to the airwaves for a vindicator, someone to strike fear in the dark basement of the parents who created him. The battle between fan and smart has begun. With a head on his shoulders stands the smart fan, a speaker of truth, with a voice of silence, and a radio show of justice. This is Ring Rust.
From this past Sunday night on the WWE Network from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Newark? Is that why there were two of every animal there? Because it's the new... this is Fabio Mark Jabroni. You're listening to Ring Rust on 3.5 CGMR FM. I don't just have the good ones. I seldom have the good ones anyway, but at any rate. So, right into the review of the Extreme Rules on this past Sunday. So there was only really one pre-show match, which is kind of unusual these days. They usually have two, don't they? Like they start the pre-show with a match and then they end the pre-show with a match. I don't know. Maybe they had more video packages. They didn't have time to do matches. I don't know. The no disqualification match saw Baron Corbin defeating Dolph Ziggler in about 7 minutes. So that's what I predicted. I seem to have gotten most of them right. I got 5 of them right and 3 of them wrong, so it got a pretty good average there, I think. Baron Corbin kind of had to win eventually. Was it just me, or was he losing an awful lot to Dolph Ziggler? Nothing against Dolph Ziggler, but it just seemed like maybe did they not know what they were doing when they brought him up from NXT, or... I don't know. Well, at least a lot of people got to see his cool finisher, End of Days. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. This is Fabio Mark Jabroni. You're listening to Ring Rust. So, back to Extreme Rules from this past Sunday on the WWE Network. The first official match for the pay-per-view was a Tornado Tag Team match. And I was watching this with my friend Mike out in Torbay. So, and I don't have a car, so luckily he was able to pick me up because he was coming from Little Harbor, I think he said. He said it's like an hour and a half drive. I was like, oh wow, how's the weather in Timbuktu today? I don't know. All right, I guess. Not making the connection apparently that I was implying he was coming from. But anyway, got to his house. Rather nice house, I gotta say. But then again, there's a lot of nice houses out there. I guess it's the quote unquote consolation being so far away, more than likely from where you're working, unless you work in Torbay, in which case you pretty much got it made. You work in Torbay, you have a nice house, and you got a car, and because you need a car to do pretty much anything, I guess. There's no public transit out there, so enough off track. So I went to Mike's house to watch it on his WWE Network. It was an interesting match. I did predict that the club of Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows would win that one, because I didn't think Jimmy and Jay needed to win over these two guys, and these two guys needed to win probably more than the Usos needed to win. So they were probably more than happy to say, yeah, sure, go ahead. We were here hanging out with our wives, as I was mentioning last week. So I'm hanging out at my friend Mike's house and meeting his dog, his rather sooky dog, just putting her head down on the pillow and just sleeping through most of the whole thing. So, and one of his friends came over, like during the second or the third match, I think. And overall entertaining show. It was an entertaining match, I suppose. And then Mike mentions like, oh wait, this is a tornado tag or something, isn't it? Because they happen to mention it like 2 or 3 minutes into the match that it was a tornado tag, and to him it seemed like it was the first time they mentioned it. And then after that, they seemed to mention it every 30 seconds, that it was a tornado tag. It's like someone was on the headset saying, mention it's a tornado tag match. It's like, okay, yes, all right then. I never noticed it much myself. I wasn't really paying attention to that, but that's the kind of stuff that, some people notice and other people don't. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbernology TV. So next up, from the WWE Extreme Rules from the WWE Network, and this past Sunday, saw Rusev beating Kalisto by submission to win the United States Championship. It'll be nice to see if they actually get a little bit more notoriety again, like when John Cena was the champion. As much as the butthurts out there don't like hearing John Cena being praised for really much of anything, because it's the cool thing to do, apparently, to bash John Cena because kicks out at 2 and 5 moves of doom. And I was watching, was it Superstars or Main Event? I think it was Main Event. Alberto Del Rio versus Zack Ryder in the main event. Zack Ryder kicked out at 2 several times. Zack Ryder, the jobber, as you would call him, LOL, John Cena kicks out at 2. The jobber kicked out at 2 5 or 6 times during that match. It was actually a rather hotly contested match. Alberto Del Rio did come out on top because it's Alberto Del Rio and Zack Ryder, but, still, Zack Ryder kicked out at 2 5 or 6 times during that match. So, but of course you didn't watch that because you're a real WWE fan who never misses Raw to complain about it, I guess. But anyway. So, it was an interesting match. Wasn't too spectacular or anything, but, for 9.5 minutes, it was well-paced, I think. Myself and my friend Mike and his friend enjoyed it quite a bit. And, of course, we all enjoyed Lana. And Lana's ass, and Lana's various other attributes that Rusev legally will be the only one entitled to enjoy coming up sometime in the next several months, whenever the two of them actually tie the knot. And then we'll be hearing the roar of the lion.
Space Thunder Kids! The evil forces of the Dark Emperor threaten the entire universe. All right, let's get them.
But with the might of Nami O'Hara and her Japanese music and culture show at their side, they can't possibly lose. Fridays at 5 p.m. Newfoundland time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen online at chmr.ca.
Hello, we're Grandola, and we're by CHMR, Newfoundland's only alternative. Oh, yeah.
You will never understand what it means to be a man, to be drunk, stone cold, to be happy on your own.
Wow, that's a man kiss.
Ha ha ha! Cookies on dolls.
This is Fanboy Mark Cerrone. You are listening to Ring Rust. So next up, for the Extreme Rules pay-per-view from this past Sunday on the WWE Network, which was how much, Michael? Actually, I think it's free this month. But anyway. Otherwise, how much is it, Michael? Shut up. So, the Tag Team Championships were on the line in the next match. And the New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods defended against the Vaudevillains, Aiden English and Simon Gotch. I predicted that one. Am I batting 100 so far? I think I am. How many am I? 4. Yes. So I've gotten, I predicted the first 4 right, and then I guess the next 3 will be wrong, and then, I don't know. So, whatever. I'm not overly bothered by not predicting matches right. I just enjoy the show. Either I enjoy the show or I don't enjoy the show, and usually I enjoy the show. So I enjoyed this match more than many of the other matches, because it's a New Day, and they're very entertaining. And I want to get one of those shirts that comes in the Bootio box so I can have a Bootio box. And yeah, that's the kind of fan I am, I guess. I just want to have this thing that's cool and funny and entertaining. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbernology TV. Next up, we have the Intercontinental Championship match, Fatal 4-Way, which saw The Miz successfully defend against Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I predicted Cesaro would come on top of this one, but then again, there's still time, I think. If Cesaro feuds for the Intercontinental title, or wins the Money in the Bank, or does any of these things, he's still got he's probably got a bright future anyway, but, he's got a slightly brighter future if he actually manages to get ahead even a little bit in WWE. But this time around, The Miz successfully defended his title. Kind of not that surprising. I actually predicted what The Miz is going to do probably is he's going to wait for one wrestler to knock out another wrestler, and then he's going to scoot in and pin the knocked out wrestler. Because that's what, heels do usually in these kind of matches. When they don't have to be involved in the pinfall to lose their title. They do what they can to sneak in and win the match and defend their title. So that's what he did.
Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkGibroni. And subscribe to Jabronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni. Macho fact. Randy Savage wears the food chain around his neck. And the Macho Man has given a snake a high five.
So this is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You are listening to Ring Rust. Oh, not 3.4. We'll see you tomorrow, fam. So back to the WWE Extreme Rules pay-per-view from this past Sunday on the WWE Network. Next is the Asylum match, which saw Dean Ambrose defeating Chris Jericho after 26 minutes. So it's a good long time of just punching and kicking and hitting each other with various objects. It was rather reminiscent of old school Cactus Jack. Because they had that 2x4 with the barbed wire that they almost always hit you with the end of it, which has no barbed wire on it. He just hits you in the stomach with the end of it and does more or less nothing. And then Chris Jericho went into those thumbtacks at the end of it. Anyone who's been watching for a while who, either knows things about the inner workings of wrestling, or thinks they know things about the inner workings of wrestling, will know, quote unquote know, that the guy wearing the shirt is the one going into the thumbtacks. Usually, 99 times out of 100, the guy wearing the shirt is the one going into the thumbtacks, because it's that much more protection. Then again, it was only one shirt. When Mick Foley used to do it, he'd wear some t-shirt underneath, usually a Cactus Jack shirt, and wear at least one flannel shirt over top of it, and he probably didn't get too many thumbtacks in him, at least not as many thumbtacks in him. This time around, actually both kind of did. But Chris Jericho was the one who got the most thumbtacks out of it. And then there's all these comments about how it's obviously fake, or unless people were just responding ironically, because Chris Jericho said anyone who thinks wrestling, because he posted a picture of him getting the thumbtacks taken out of him, or with his back all bloodied or whatever. And he said anyone who still thinks wrestling is fake is an idiot. And then there's 4 or 5 responses to that saying it's obviously fake because of this reason. And he kept calling all those people who responded idiots, which I guess is fine if you want to call everybody idiots, but you're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You're listening to Ring Rust. So we got 2 matches left for Extreme Rules from this past Sunday on the WWE Network. The second last match is Charlotte defending her Women's Championship against Natalya via submission. Bit of a hard-fought match there, and it looked like at any number of times Charlotte could have lost, which is something that her father was good at, looking like at any point in time he could have lost. So she looked at any point in time she could have lost to Natalya. So she made Natalya look like $1,000,000. Not like Natalya necessarily needed her help, but she still came out on top of the match. She still retained her title. And, oh my God. I just watched, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I watched Superstars and Main Event, which turned out to be from 4 Extreme Rules. So it showed clips from Raw from before Extreme Rules. So I saw the Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose setup for the Asylum match. And I saw the contract signing for the women's title, which featured Ric Flair getting all huffy, saying, "What's this? What's this contract? What's this in here?" And then taking off his jacket and then slapping his shoulder like he does, and Charlotte going, "Dad, don't, please." And it's like her overselling of it is just deadpan, like, "Please, oh my God," like she's proving how great an actress she was by not smiling her face off just by doing that. Because you can tell from the body language, like, oh my God, she's loving what she's doing. She's like, oh my God, Dad's being Dad again. And this time, millions of people are watching instead of just, whoever happened to be in the house at the time. Seemed like everyone was enjoying themselves and ended up resulting in a fairly entertaining match. 9.5 minutes. Good time for, well, it's more than a lot of Divas matches ever got, but not quite as much as NXT women's matches, but they're getting there. We gotta wait for our hashtag Diva Revolution to get full steam ahead, and yeah. So, reason. Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni, and subscribe to Jarbronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni. Some red hot Dudley Do-Right coming to the ring. Probably, I don't know why, but a women's wrestler? Maybe. I don't know. Gives the impression that a women's wrestler might come out to that sort of song. I don't know. If she wants to slap hands and kiss babies. Or if she's a Snidely Whiplash, come out and kiss hands and... No, I don't think we're going to go there. So, one final match for Extreme Rules from this past Sunday on the WWE Network. Saw Roman Reigns successfully defending his World Heavyweight Championship against AJ Styles in an Extreme Rules match. Interesting seeing 2 title matches back to back like that. I don't think, did they do? Well, they did the tag in Intercontinental and the United States actually. So that's 3 back to back. I don't know. It just seems unusual to me, maybe, but maybe it's not unusual at all. But who knows? So I'm just going to leave it at that. Oh God, what the? I want now. It's almost done. If I can have your attention, please. I just received an email from the ridiculous Ring Rust general manager. You haven't received an email from me today. Well, when you're right, you're right. I haven't received an email from you today. So, thanks for that. That's it for another show, kiddies. Check me out on Facebook, where you can keep track of all the news that's right on the mark, from around ringside to the latest concerts. See you at the shows. Later days.
This is 93.5 CHMR FM.